Hey there everybody, welcome to Auto Bears, and it's always a good day when a new brand comes to the channel. So everybody, please say hello to Mini, because I'm out here in the Cotswolds on the UK media launch of the all-new Mini Electric. Now, ever since Mini was relaunched back in the early noughties, it's been a massive hit here in the UK because we've got those classic Mini looks, go-kart driving style, loads of performance, and if you wanted something more practical, well, you could have gone for a Clubman or a Countryman. But when it came to the first generation electric Mini, it kept all of those fun Mini factors, but there was one thing lacking, and that was range. But Mini are looking to address this with the latest generation electric Mini. And I'm here in the Cotswolds on its UK media launch, so I'm going to let you guys know what the new electric Mini is all about. Now, when it comes to styling, it definitely has a much more grown-up and mature feel to it, but they've taken away some of the kind of lines and features we've seen on the previous generation. It is something that Mini even call themselves charismatic simplicity. And they've kind of gone the way with what JLR have done with the latest generation Range Rover by kind of smoothing out the lines of the car, but still keeping all the little features of the Mini that we've come to know and love. We still have the round headlight clusters with the daytime running lights. We've got this new octagonal grille up front. Yes, it is filled in because this is an electric Mini, but there are a couple of vents at the bottom, of course, to cool the motor. But it's at the back where you do see the differences from the previous generation with that new tail light design and badge work. And you can actually kind of tailor and personalize the tail lights to your own liking, so it does give the new electric Mini this element of personalization about the car, something again we've come to know and love from them. And also with this latest generation, there are 3 new colors you can get to choose from. This Sunnyside Yellow, there is a blazing blue, and also a legend grey. Let me know in the comment section which is your favorite. Granted, if you're after a sporty looking car, yeah, that grey definitely stands out. But I do love the fact that it still kind of retains its Mini-ishness from the previous generation, but at the same time as well, feeling a bit more grown up and more modern as well. So yeah, I am loving the styling of the new electric Mini. And on that note, I think it's time we leave the exterior and see what they've done with the inside. Sat in the front of the new electric Mini, you are greeted by a very comfortable, really nicely laid out interior that has this very retro modern feel about it. You can see like the boost in technology, but with its design it does hark back to the Minis of yesteryear, and I really do love that. And it's not fussy at all actually. This is a massive step forward in terms of its design from the previous generation. Now when it comes to getting in and out of the electric Mini, I'm going to say it's actually really nice and easy. The doors are huge and open nice and wide. Yes, of course, because it's a Mini, you've got to bend down to get inside. So if you are after an electric Mini and you've got mobility issues, have a little look at the electric Countryman. But I will say that there's no grab handle here for the driver, but there is for the front passenger. Now on this E-Spec, I have got manually adjustable seats, and I love the fact I've got a little kind of pulley in order to do the reclining. And then with the steering, I've got both rake and reach adjustment, so you should be able to get yourself the ideal driving position. And then when it comes to interior quality, it's actually pretty good in here. Now, the plastics up top here are actually quite hard, but we have got this kind of fabric effect here on the dashboard, which is actually 90% recycled polyester. So it's great to see that we're having with the electric Mini this kind of eco-friendly feel to it that we are seeing with a lot of electric brands as well. And we've also got it here on the doors, but the rest of the plastics around here are of a hard type, but they do feel of a sturdy quality, and there is some rubber lining here down below. So yeah, when it comes to kind of first impressions when you get inside the electric Mini, it feels like a really lovely place to be. And yeah, I love the retro modern look. Cubby spaces in here, I'm going to say are okay. I mean, being a Mini, it is a lifestyle car, so don't expect it to be as practical as some of its more traditional rivals. Now, the door pockets are of an okay size. They're not lined with any fabric, so loose items will rattle around in there, but you could get a small to medium-sized bottle of drink in there. Now, what we got here on the kind of center console is this very long tray area. It is rubber lined, which I really do like. Now, at the front, we have got your wireless charging pad and two USB-C charging inputs, and kind of tucked away quite far away is the 12-volt socket, and you do have to lean quite forward in order to reach it. So I think Mini's giving you a bit of a hint there. Use the USB-Cs. Now, we have got two little cup holders here, which I've got this kind of unique ring around them to hold them in place. There's no little plastic grippers or anything, so I do think if you have a bottle of drink in there, it might kind of roll around a bit as you go around a corner, but something like a coffee cup should stay in place. And then this rubber tray area does keep going even further back, which is actually very handy. And we have got another cup holder at the back here for rear passengers. And then finally we have got the glove box, which is just like the Mini, small and cute. So it's not the most practical, but fortunately the book pack isn't the biggest size there, so it does mean you have got a little bit of extra space there to use. But yeah, with the Mini, it is a little lifestyle vehicle, but yeah, I do like some of the quirky storage features. Now, with this being the new electric Mini, there is a massive step up in technology. So when it comes to features, a lot of them are done via the infotainment system. So physical buttons have been reduced from its previous generation. So what we got here on the dash is we've got a little rotary knob for the volume. We got your drive mode select as a little rocker switch. We've also got this little kind of turnkey system in order to start and stop the electric Mini. We have then got another rocker switch, and that's actually your gear select button with a little P there to operate the electric handbrake. And then a couple of touch sensitive buttons underneath. So one to operate the rear camera and parking sensors, another one which is kind of a system here for the infotainment system. And then we got buttons for your front and rear demisting of the screens. And then on the steering wheel on the left hand side we've got your cruise control controls, and on the right hand side we have got your radio, media and communication controls, with also a shortcut button as well for the infotainment system. Also on this particular car we have got a head-up display because we have got the level 1 pack added to it. That's something I definitely recommend if you are looking at the entry-level electric Mini. And then a couple of buttons here to operate the windows and the electric mirrors. So yeah, when it actually comes to physical buttons here in the electric Mini, they are few and far between, but you can tell that Mini has done its homework. Now, in regards to the infotainment system, we've got a 24cm display. I'll put that in inches at the bottom of the screen, and it is an OLED display as well. And as I mentioned, a lot of the features of the car are operated via this infotainment system, and it's really crisp and clear in terms of its presentation. The actual actions as well are very quick, and yeah, it gives you a lot of information. You can just kind of scroll through here from left to right just to see what some of these features are. At the bottom you do get some kind of shortcut buttons, so you've got things like the air conditioning, your Bluetooth, and you've got things like sat nav and also connecting to your phone and calling someone. We have actually got a little rocker switch as well, which you can use to go up and down in terms of temperature, with an auto and a sync system as well, because you've got dual zone climate control. And then you get things like the power and your battery at the top of the display, as well as your speedometer. But one of the reasons I did mention to go for the level 1 pack is that you do get things like keyless entry, but the big one is that head-up display, and it is a really clear and lovely system. Now, I haven't driven the car yet. I'm still kind of doing my static filming, as you can clearly see, but it's one of the things I would definitely go for, because if I'm driving, I want to be able to see the speed that I'm driving at and not take my eyes off the road and look at the top of the infotainment system. Something I've noticed when I had a brief drive of the new Tesla Model 3. So that's something I would definitely recommend. But in terms of the graphics and everything, it really is a lovely feature. And something that you can do as well is that you can go through some like personalization with it. You can actually put photos on here as well. So you can kind of have pictures of your partner, your dog, or if it's me, I'll probably have a picture of a car or something in the background. Of course, it would be an electric Mini. So yeah, when it comes to kind of being here in the electric Mini, like I said, I love the retro design, but with that modern twist to it. I will also mention there are these kind of unique factors as well. We've got this little bit of like leather piping here with contrasting stitching. That looks really cool. We've also got a little bit of cloth here on the steering wheel, which is very taut on there. But I do love this kind of, I will call it a two-spoke, even though we got that cloth at the bottom there. But it feels lovely and chunky in your hands and has really nice contrasting stitching as well. So yeah, being sat here in the front of the electric Mini, and with this being the base spec as well, it is a really lovely place to be. Something I will mention about these seats is that we've got this kind of leatherette and cloth on the outskirts of them as well. I do love the colouring on it, again giving you this kind of retro feel, but it's not real leather, it is leatherette, so that's something Mini have mentioned as well. But I do like the little funky pattern on there, again adding to that fun factor of the electric Mini. Now I will say, with this being a 3-door, it's probably going to be a little bit tight in the back, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold off sitting back there until I can get a Mini on a proper test. But what I will do is take you to the boot and show you what it's like over there. Opening the boot of the electric Mini presents you with 210 litres of space, which is, yes, a tiny amount of boot capacity, but this is a lifestyle car, so practicality shouldn't be high up on your list. But as you can see, it gets my single man's hamper very nicely stored in the centre there. That's for me to enjoy on this launch. But when I remove that, you do have a little bit of a boot lip to navigate over. We have got a couple of little tethering hooks on the underside which you can use, and we have got a decent amount of underfloor storage, which is great for your charging cables, and I have got a Type 2 one here. And then when I do put the seats down, which I can do from the boot area, nice and handy, it does increase to around 800 litres, but there aren't any kind of unique features where you can perhaps put the parcel shelf underneath the boot floor, which is a little bit disappointing. But you know what, again, practicality is not going to be high up on your list for this type of car. When it comes to these type of cars, it actually comes down to the fun factor and the drive. So on that note, let's get the boot down and see what this electric Mini is like on the road. No, hold on. Not going to forget this. So once you start driving the new electric Mini, first impressions are very positive. It feels like a big improvement over its predecessor, and it does feel more grown up. Visibility has always been a positive with the Mini, and yeah, it's exactly the same with this latest generation. I got a great view of the road ahead. Now, because this has been kind of tweaked and it's a bit more aerodynamic and electric, yeah, the front end does dip away, so you can't quite judge where the front of the car is, but you do get things like front and rear parking sensors depending on what kind of packages you go for. Now, the A-pillars are actually not that thick and chunky, especially at the angle that I'm looking at them, and it does mean at junctions like I'm at now, you're not going to find yourself looking around them, so that is a big positive. And then the wing mirrors are on the doors. I will mention, in regards to some of the styling tweaks, the indicators are actually integrated into them, and that just caught me off guard there, and they're actually of a really lovely size and shape. And then if I look over my shoulder, I find that the C-pillar is not too thick, and I have got blind spot monitoring as well, and just, yeah, rear visibility is very good. Because of that kind of little boxy shape, it means all-round visibility in the Mini is a highlight. Now, I will mention one thing before we kind of move on to the next part of the review. As you start driving it, yes, of course it feels like a Mini, but the noise that this thing makes when you put your foot down, I'm currently in what they call core mode. So when you put your foot down, it makes a very cool noise, and you can definitely feel that kind of connection with BMW. I don't think it's Hans Zimmer that's making these noises and composing them, but it's definitely from that same family. So yeah, when you get driving the electric Mini, the new one, yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, just improve on it. And Mini have definitely done that. Now, when it comes to trim levels in the electric Mini's range, there's essentially 3 stages you need to go through to pick the Mini that you're after. So at the beginning, you've got the choice of either the E or SE, and that lets you know what battery size and performance you're getting from the car. Then you move on to your trim levels. So you have the choice of Classic, Exclusive, and Sport. Obviously, you get an idea of what you get with those cars. And then finally, you've got level packs. So you've got essentially levels 1, 2, and 3. I will say straight away, if you go for the SE version of the Mini, you do get level 1 as standard. So essentially then you're looking at level 2 and 3 as add-ons. And then furthermore, you can look at things such as the paintwork to the exterior, also the interior trim as well. So you can look to tailor it to how you want it. But yeah, that's essentially what you've got. Now, I'm not going to give you any kind of personal recommendations because I am on the launch of the car, but I'm just letting you know how it's laid out. Now, if you want to know about this specific car that I'm driving, it is the entry-level version. So I have got the E, so I've got the smaller battery and performance. I do believe as well I've got the level 1 pack. So yeah, when it comes to the trim levels and that, essentially you've got those 3 stages to go through, and then that way you can get the perfect Mini for you. So when it comes to powering the electric Mini, as I said, if you go for the E or SE, those basically decide what size battery you go for. So if you go for the entry level E, you are given a 40.7 kilowatt hour battery with approximately 184 brake horsepower and 290 Newton meters of torque. So that means you'll go from 0 to 62 miles per hour in around 7.3 seconds. So it's actually around about the same as what you got from the previous generation. However, range is improved with a WLTP quoted range from Mini of 190 miles. Now, of course, then you can go for the SE, so you get a bigger battery, which goes up to 54.2 kilowatt hour. You then get 218 brake horsepower and 330 Newton meters of torque. So 0 to 62 is improved and goes down to 6.7 seconds. That's actually quite impressive and feels a lot quicker, of course, being an electric car. And then when it comes to range, yes, as I said, it is improved and goes up to a WLTP quoted range of 250 miles. And quite simply, I'm going to do this as a recommendation. And I did this with the revised version of the MG ZS EV. If you have an electric Mini or a previous generation electric Mini and you've had no issues with the range, it's suited your lifestyle absolutely brilliantly, stick with the E. Stick with that smaller battery. You still get more range, but you got the same performance there. Now, when it comes to charging and brake regeneration, I will say one of them is pretty good, but the other does need a bit of improving. So when it comes to brake regeneration, I have got it in eco mode, and I'll be honest, there's no brake regen coming through when I take my foot off the accelerator pedal. But I have got a B mode with the gear selector, and if I do put it into that, and it lets you know because it puts a little light onto the B side rather than the D, you do find there is a strong bit of brake regen, and actually this could work out well. Oh, that's impressive. That actually takes you to a standstill. So that's something I do like then about the brake regen. Now, when it comes to charging, this is where it does fall behind some of its rivals. So I will mention that if you go for the smaller E battery, so you get the smaller battery, that's got a charging rate with a DC charger of 75 kilowatts. If you go for the larger battery, that does increase to 95 kilowatts. So that is a bit better, but it does fall behind some of its rivals. So yeah, when it comes to the brake regen in B mode, absolutely brilliant. But I will say, in regards to the charging, yeah, if you're doing a long journey, it shouldn't take you too much to charge the new Mini Electric. But yeah, being below 100 kilowatts, I don't know. That's something I think Mini might need to work on. Now, when it comes to the ride and refinement, it's set to the firm side. When it comes to the ride, you do feel some of those bumps and imperfections coming through into the cabin, but it deals with them really well. It's not uncomfortable, you don't get jolted around. And also as well, these seats, even though they are the entry-level car seats, are really comfortable. They do hold me in place. I've got this nice warm retro hug feeling from them, and they do take a lot of the vibration and kind of sting out of the, you know, imperfections in the road. So as I'm driving now at low speed, around 30 miles an hour, yeah, I can feel those kind of imperfections there, but it's not uncomfortable. And this is something that you would expect from a mini style car. Now, as I speed up to say 60 miles an hour, I do love that noise. It does settle down. Again, yes, you can see me kind of moving around a bit, but I'm not uncomfortable. It just adds to that lovely feel you get with the Mini, and it shows the kind of suspension levels are very impressive in terms of what they can do and dealing with that ride. And that's something that you want from a Mini. And then when it comes to refinement, yeah, I'm going to say actually it's pretty good. Now I'm actually driving on a smooth bit of tarmac at 55 miles an hour. Okay, let's go up to 60. And I've got a bit of tyre roar coming through, which I'm not surprised at all, because I am expecting that from this type of car. And I will say there is a little bit of wind noise coming off the wing mirrors. But again, apart from that, I got no issues. Now, if you do go for the level 2 pack, I do believe you get things like a panoramic glass roof, and you get the Harman Kardon sound system. Now, I don't have it on this particular car because you can see it's not branded here on the speaker, but I can imagine that being an absolute delight to listen to when you're on a long journey, so you don't get those outside noises coming into the cabin. It will be then basically focusing on that distraction from the music. But again, it's not a bad thing, that tyre roar and the wind noise. It's not that intrusive. This is something that I'm loving with these like latest generation of electric cars, is the sound insulation and deadening is improving and is going in the right places. When it comes to the refinement and the ride, you'll have no issues at all. Now, when it comes to the electric Mini's handling, so this is the one we're all going to be looking for. And it gives you a little indication to know that you are in go-kart mode. We have got, firstly, a change to the noises. No, I did not just hear some engine exhaust pops. Oh, I'm going to have to try that again. Here we go. No, it's like a weird simulated electric exhaust pop in, not like an Ioniq 5N, but when it comes to handling, yeah, this is a highlight in the car. I know exactly what those front wheels are doing, and I feel connected to the car, which is something you don't often get with electric vehicles. It's weighted really nicely. The steering wheel, I will say, is very thick and chunky, but where you do want to place your hands at the the 3 and 9 o'clock position, it's actually at its kind of thinnest, and it is nice to hold on to. So that's one thing just to kind of mention there. It is a kind of a BMW type thing where you get very chunky steering wheels, but I can just hold on to this and just have control of the car. So the feedback is really positive. I know what I'm doing, especially this in go-kart mode. And that's the thing as well I love, is that they've called it go-kart mode. They haven't called it sport. So again, they really are harking back to those old Minis of yesteryear, where you could just chuck them about in the corners and it just felt like a rabid terrier. That's just something I really do like about it. That's one thing as well about a Mini. If a Mini you chuck into the corners doesn't put a smile on your face, yeah, it's not a Mini. But yeah, this is one real highlight to the car. Unfortunately, the person in front of me, oh no, they are indicating out the way. So, there we go, here we are. Chuck it in, put foot down. Whee! Oh, that's so cool and responsive. Oh. There we go. Oh, foot down. I love that weird, well, I say exhaust popping, it's just like a synthetic, futuristic cyber exhaust popping. But yeah, in terms of sport mode, go-kart mode, this is an absolute highlight, and I love the noises as well. So yeah, handling is an absolute joy. So let's quickly go through the driving experiences and see how they feel and sound. So the first one we're going to go straight to is go-kart. So once you select it, you get a little woohoo, and when you put your foot down, you get that very cool sporty electric sound. I really do like that. Then below there we have got core, so this is your normal. Okay, so we've got a unique little sound there. If you put your foot down, you get that weird kind of sci-fi rev noise. And then the next one we have is green, so this is your eco mode. So we get a nice kind of ambient jingle happening. And if I put my foot down, you don't get any noises, but what you have got is a little hummingbird kind of flapping its wings to let you know everything's very eco and ambient and lovely. But it does warn you and let you know if you're perhaps putting a bit too much effort in with your right foot, because that changes to a leopard running, which is, yeah, quite cool. I mean, it could be a cheetah because it's running. What have we got then? Vivid. Okay, so with this one, this is one that you can kind of link it to your phone, and I believe it kind of just works and adjusts with that. And then with Vivid, we then have, oh, Timeless. This is the retro one. Cool little retro noise. Now, apparently this is meant to replicate like an old 1960s, like Morris, Mini Morris. So, let's put our foot down, shall we, and see. Oh. Let's actually get a bit of straight road. Here we go. Okay, it doesn't really sound like one, but it's a unique noise. I do love the retro dial. That is one of my favourites. That does hark back to the minis of old. And then what else have we got? And then the final one it says is balance. Oh, that's got a nice ambient sound to it. Oh, okay, that's a very kind of sci-fi whir in the background. Yeah, I kind of like that one. This one kind of reminds me of like Hans Zimmer. There's like a weird kind of symphonic orchestra in the background. Oh, I do like that one. So there you go. There's your driving experiences. So what are my thoughts on the new Mini Electric here on its UK launch in the Cotswolds? Well, clearly Mini have listened to their customer base and learned from customer experiences, because they've really upped their game with this latest generation. The key thing being range, and the fact that you got 2 battery choices. Like I said, if you're happy with the range and the lifestyle you've got with your Mini Electric, then going for the Cooper E is a no-brainer. But if you are kind of looking at Mini now for an electric vehicle, that SE is gonna feel very much more appealing. In terms of the ride refinement and handling, it's a big kind of step forward. It still feels like a go-kart, it still feels like a Mini, but it feels more grown up. It feels more mature, and that's no bad thing. That's something that you want in this type of car. It does have that brilliant go-kart mode and does put a smile on your face. And I haven't even got the top spec version. I've got the entry-level E with less performance and less range, but it's still putting a smile on my face. So yeah, I mean, Mini has always been a benchmark when it comes to these type of lifestyle vehicles. And again, going electric against its rivals, and I mean lifestyle car rivals, so like Fiat with the 500e, maybe even our Bath and the Aura 03, I think this could be the one to go for. It still has that brilliant Mini appeal, but with added range and a little bit more maturity. So everyone, I hope you've enjoyed my first drive review of the new Mini Electric. Please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notifications icon to let you know when I, Dave the Auto Bear, bring out a new video. If you've got any questions about the Mini Electric, please put them down in the comment section below and I'll do my utmost to answer them. And also don't forget to follow on social media like Facebook, X and Instagram for more content. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a great day and I'll catch you all in the next video. So take care everybody and bye-bye.